Making a bread boat is easy to do whether you're making khachapuri or making a boat for a regular dip. Welcome to the Spendwise Moms channel, your homemaking resource hub. Impress your guests this holiday with one of these bread boats. They look really cool and you can eat them along with the dip. This recipe makes 2 bread boats. To start with, get a large bowl. Warm 1 1/3 cups of milk in the microwave for about 30 seconds or until it's slightly warm. Pour it into the bowl. Add 1 1/2 teaspoons of sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 1/2 teaspoons of yeast, and 1 1/2 tablespoons of oil. Stir the ingredients. Next, add 1 cup of flour and stir. Then add another cup of flour and stir. Last, add about a 1/2 cup of flour and then stir it in the best you can. If you need to use your hands, go ahead and do so. Then put a little bit of flour on your counter and place the dough on the counter. Knead the flour into the dough, sprinkling a little bit at a time on the dough until it isn't sticky anymore. Be careful not to put too much flour in it. You can always add more flour if you need to, but you can't take it away once you've already added it. When your dough is finished, wash out your bowl and put a little bit of oil in it. Roll the dough around until the oil gets all of the dough covered. And then cover the bowl with a kitchen towel and let it rise for about an hour. If you're making plain bread boats, skip this next step. But if you're making khachapuri, then mix your cheeses together a few minutes before the bread is done rising. In a medium bowl, mix about 1/2 cup of crumbled feta, mozzarella, and cheddar. You can see that I just had a farmer's cut of cheese, which is larger than normal, but it still worked out okay. Add an egg and a heaping teaspoon of flour to the cheeses and mix well. Set this cheese mixture aside. Khachapuri is from Georgia, located near Russia. Authentic khachapuri uses cheeses that are a little different than the ones we have here in the U.S. When your dough's finished rising, then divide it into 2 parts. Roll out one of them into a wide oval. If the dough is a little sticky, just sprinkle a little more flour on it, or under it, or both. I actually roll my dough out on a piece of parchment paper and then transfer the parchment paper right onto the cookie sheet. If you don't have parchment, you'll need to use a well-greased cookie sheet. Now, when you roll it up, if it doesn't look perfect, don't worry about it. Just do the best you can. Because we're rolling up the sides, you can kind of fix any issues when you roll. Start by rolling each of the long sides 2 or 3 times. Leave enough space in the middle for the cheeses. Now, roll the ends of the long sides a little at a time until they meet in the middle. Then kind of twist or pinch. Next, you put the cheeses inside if you're making khachapuri. If you choose to make the bread boat for a dip, don't add anything in the middle at this time. You'll just cook the bread boat by itself, and then you'll add the dip later when it cools. Preheat your oven to 425 and put your bread boats in to cook about 12 or 14 minutes, depending on how hot your oven is. If you're making khachapuri, then take the bread boat out a couple of minutes before it's done and make a hole in the cheese filling and crack an egg into it. Wow, of all times to have a double yolk, it happens to be now when I'm making a video. Oh well. Put the khachapuri back into the oven and let it bake for a couple minutes more until the egg white isn't clear, probably between 2 and 5 minutes. You want the egg to still be soft so you can stir it into the cheeses before eating. When it's finished, put it on a cooling rack to cool slightly until it's cool enough to eat. Rip off part of the bread boat and dig in. A copy of the recipe is below in the description box. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching the Spendwise Moms channel. Please subscribe for more videos like this.